Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. Tony Rich Rod says his West Virginia players can be on TikTok, but they're not allowed to dance on TikTok.
I'm Tony Kornheiser. Hey, Rich Rod, what about the penguin dance? Hit it, boys. To the side, back to the front, slow it down and speed it up.
God help us.
How many years have I done this?
On TikTok.
How many years?
Long before there was TikTok.
Yeah.
20 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who invented it? I didn't.
Not Rich Rod either.
No, I didn't invent it. Somebody must have invented it. My memory isn't that good. I'm unburdened by memory. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, the Cavs win again. The Big 12 stumps for a 76-team NCAA tournament. And Brian Windhorst joins us for 5 good minutes.
Good.
But we begin again today with NFL free agency and a bunch of Pro Bowlers moving around. Joey Bosa has signed a 1-year deal with Buffalo. DeAndre Hopkins has signed a 1-year deal with Baltimore. The Rams released Cooper Kupp. The Chiefs are restructuring the contracts of Patrick Mahomes and Chris Jones to pay for acquisitions. The Pittsburgh Post-Gazette reports the Steelers are negotiating with Aaron Rodgers. And just over an hour ago, we learned Russell Wilson is scheduled to meet with the Browns and the Giants in the next 2 days. Wilbon, what is the biggest story to you?
Well, now it's Russell Wilson. I mean, 2 hours ago, I would have told you it's Aaron Rodgers holding the Pittsburgh Steelers hostage, which is what he's doing because he can. And that's just who Aaron Rodgers has become. Russell Wilson, who, by the way, has been to twice as many Super Bowls as Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson is out in
only
Pittsburgh.
Won the same amount.
Okay, but he's
That's
led
right.
his team
That's right.
to twice as many Super Bowls as Aaron Rodgers, who's overstated by everybody on this network except on this show. And I'm looking at Russell Wilson now, Tony, who I don't think has much left either.
No.
He ain't got about as much left as Aaron Rodgers, which is to say nothing. But if he went to Cleveland and then Aaron Rodgers stiffed the Steelers for the Vikings, and the Steelers, who I generally root for because I like the Rooney family and I like Mike Tomlin.
They would have
nobody out there.
Right.
What are you going to do, call up Terry Bradshaw, ask him to come off the set
Joe
at
Flacco.
Fox?
That's my Joe Flacco.
It would be so great if their arrogance and their courtship of Aaron bleeping Rodgers led to having no quarterback, because I'd like to see Russ go to Cleveland.
So I'm going to stay with this topic. I'm going to go on the other side, that Aaron Rodgers is the biggest story, maybe not the way he wants it to be. Because at some point you say, is it just flash? Is there any substance there at all? And he also brings drama with him in a calculated, deliberate way.
Intentional.
But he's a Hall of Fame quarterback.
He was.
He's going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback. And if he's got anything left, and they have Pickens and they have Metcalf, he can make the Steelers a very good team. As opposed, because the last 10 games last year, Mike, wait.
That's garbage time.
Hold it. The last 10 games, 18 touchdowns and 4 interceptions.
Do you judge the last 10 games of Jordan Poole?
I'm making a calculation, garbage time. No. I'm making a calculation vis-a-vis Russell Wilson.
Okay.
The Steelers know who he is. They watched him lose the last 5 games of the year. They watched him produce no points. And by no points, I mean the last 5. 13, 17, 10, 17, 14.
He's done.
They know he has nothing.
Yeah.
They may think that Rodgers has something left. So it all becomes interesting. The 1-year contracts with Bosa and Hopkins, that's the last gasp.
Bosa might have some left.
He's injured
only
all
30.
the time.
I'm not even sure he's 30
Hopkins is going to be 33, and he had his lowest reception since he's a rookie.
He left it all out there.
Yeah, that's what I think. Let's move to the NBA. Please. Cleveland, playing without Donovan Mitchell, still won its 15th straight game last night, beating Brooklyn. Tyrese Halliburton made a spectacular last-second three, then added a 4th point from the line to drag Indiana past Milwaukee.
Great play.
And tonight, Oklahoma City plays in Boston. Wilbon, which is the biggest deal?
Ding, ding, ding. Look, Tyrese Halliburton shot, and Giannis over there trying to defend that shot, and it not working. It was spectacular. Scream out loud in the moment. Reggie Miller on that call was just great. But as we spin this forward and look ahead to a couple of hours from now, OKC in Boston, which since the day the season began, I thought that was the likely finals preview, OKC and Boston. And I said I didn't think Boston could repeat because I think the league is too good. So that's been my tack. I want to see that game.
Yeah.
You know, I know the Boston's a little short-handed because the 7'3" guy ain't going to be out there. Porzingis not playing. He never plays. But I want to see that game. I'm going to see that game.
And that's fine. But that game could be a dud. Games are duds sometimes.
Okay, it could happen.
So I would rather concentrate on things that we know about that happened rather than wait for a dud, if that in fact happens. Well, it might not be.
Right.
But the other two things were not duds to begin with.
They were.
So to me, the biggest deal is Cleveland winning number 15.
Okay.
And I don't even think that not having Donovan Mitchell is that big a deal because the Nets are a bad team. They're 22-43. They're in 13th place.
They should have won that game.
I thought it was 18, actually.
18,
I thought it was 18. Right, and Cleveland comes. So Cleveland, 15 games in a row, twice this season.
Garland.
This is an important thing. That needs to be applauded. That needs to be noted.
Yep.
Do you know how many other teams in the league have got 15 this year? Oklahoma City, that's it, that's the list. And Cleveland had it twice. Cleveland, and you know what Cleveland
they're the 6th team to ever have it twice.
I believe is 19-1 in their last 20, and 30-4 at home. Yeah. Now, the Halliburton shot, which I saw, was tremendous because he's rushing down into the deep left corner, and when he shoots, he's shooting against the momentum of his body. He later said, because I heard him say it, I've been working on that. I've hit it a couple of times this year. But let's be fair, you're down 3. Who expects 4? Who expects 4? So as a result of that, Indiana wins the game.
And they could face each other in a 4-5.
But Indiana has a 1-game winning streak. And Cleveland, who I want to get back to, has a 15-game winning streak.
They do.
15.
If you're a Celtics guy, do you think right now, if you had to take Cleveland or Boston, you would take whom in a 7-game series today?
I would take the Celtics because of last year, but last year's last year. Let's dig back into the NBA with our great friend, ESPN senior writer, Brian Windhorst. Teams in the West do not respect the Thunder as title contenders. What are you hearing about this?
Yeah, I mean, whether you want to say it's don't respect them or don't fear them, however you want to say it, it's something I've noticed over the course of this year, that when you hear players or coaches talk about their pathways in the Western Conference, some of them openly want to be on the side of the bracket as the Thunder. And I've even talked to people in Oklahoma City about this, and I don't think they care, number one. And I think, number two, they recognize they have the youngest team in the league, or at least one of the 2 youngest teams in the league. And when you have the youngest team in any league, in any sport, you're not going to fear that team. But this is a team that won 57 games last year, was the number 1 seed. They're on their way to winning 65-ish games this year. They've been out front the entire time. They got a 12-game lead or something like that. They're probably going to have the MVP. He finished 2nd last year. He's probably going to be the MVP this year. They got the reigning coach of the year, Mark Daigneault. And yet, it's a tough place to play. They have 5 home losses. That's it. And yet, when you listen in the league, there's nobody like, oh, my God, the West goes through Oklahoma City. So they're going to have to earn it. And I think they recognize that. And to me, it just really makes them more of an interesting team going to the postseason, being such a great record and having that status or lack of there.
They're loaded, and nobody thinks, oh, yeah, Oklahoma City. They're loaded. They got everything, right, Brian? They're not missing anything.
They could use some more shooting, and that could hurt them. Okay. But they're so loaded at everything else that it may not matter.
Yeah. Let's move to a team that people still fear or fear again. The Warriors, who've been rolling with Jimmy Butler, whatever they are now, 12-2, I think, and without Jonathan Kuminga, but Kuminga's going to return from that ankle injury, we're told Thursday. So how are they going to work him back in? Is this going to be a bonus right away to get Kuminga back in that lineup after such a long absence?
Honestly, I don't know if he's going to play that much right away.
Really?
Because the Warriors are playing so well. Guy Santos, who's taken some of his minutes, has looked so good. And guys, look, when they got Jimmy Butler, they were in 11th place. Steve Kerr came out and said on the record, we're just trying to get to 6. We want to avoid the play-in. We've been in the play-in the last 2 years. Last year we didn't make it out of the play-in. We're just trying to get to 6. Guys, they're 12-1 with Butler in the lineup. He's a perfect complement for what Steph Curry needs to do. He gives them so many things they don't have. And they're a couple games back of the Rockets in 5th. But look at the teams in front of them. They're all hurt. Lakers lost LeBron. 3rd time now, Aaron Gordon with the Nuggets is out with the calf injury. We don't even have a timetable on him. The Rockets haven't had Fred VanVleet for the last month. I'm not even sure how he's going to get reintegrated, and they just lost Amen Thompson for a few weeks. Memphis, Jaren Jackson Jr., 2nd-degree ankle sprain. He's going to be out a few weeks. the path is opening up here for the Warriors. And look, Draymond Green said a couple of weeks ago, this team can win the title. And I ignored it. And by the way, that's also kind of a low-key shot at the Thunder because, you know, they're like 26 games back of them. Like, yeah, we'll care. But Draymond said that for a reason. Whether it happens or not, he said that for a reason. And it is opening up for them. Now, they got to stay healthy. Jimmy Butler has got to continue to thrive in his role. But the Warriors are becoming more dangerous by the day.
Yeah. Amen to that. I agree with you. One team that isn't dangerous to anybody but itself is the Phoenix Suns. And you know this annoys me greatly, Brian. Are we watching the last few days of Kevin Durant in a Suns uniform? Is it inevitable?
Probably. Now, it's the NBA. The last thing you ever want to do is put anything in stone. So I wouldn't say for sure anything, but everything points to them making a Kevin Durant trade over the summer. And the reason is that their top three players, Durant, Bradley Beal, and Devin Booker, are the highest earning trio in the NBA. Next year, their salaries are $150 million. They are 30 and 35, okay? I cannot explain why they're 30 and 35. They should be better. Maybe they're not a championship team, but there's no way that this collection of talent should be 30 and 35. And it makes no sense to run that back. They've changed coaches. They've changed supporting role players. They have not been proven to be a quality team with those three together. Well, Devin Booker is in his 20s and has no intention of going anywhere and is under a long-term contract. Bradley Beal has a no-trade clause. He is underperforming his contract, but you cannot trade him. And if you do trade him, you need his permission, and it's going to affect what you get back. You don't need to be a high-level analyst to figure out what you got to do here. And I know that the Suns know this, guys, because they did try to trade him. They talked to multiple teams at the deadline. Durant was not involved in the process, and I think that bothered him. It's one of the reasons why he said, hold on, I don't want to go anywhere. And in interviews he's given since, he's not been mad at the Suns for doing that, but he's said, I want to change teams on my terms, which is code for, okay, if you're going to trade me, you can trade me, but we're going to work together and I'm going to know where I'm going to go. So I do think that's where we're headed. And I do think the market for Kevin Durant is a big story in June and July. Yeah. And of course, you're going to want to know where he wants to go. Well, I'm not sure yet. Let's see how the season ends. Let's see who's disappointed. Let's see who's not disappointed and see how that market develops.
Thank you so much, Brian. It's always
Brian, that's
great to have you. Thank you.
Thank you.